Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the Pro Wrestling Show for the AEW Ring Report. Collision Dynamite Form as One. It's called the AEW Ring Report. Coming up, see right here, Bobby Lashley and Ricochet fight for the number one spot in the Casino Gauntlet for the national championship. Which one of these two men will be the number one entrant in the Casino Gauntlet? We'll talk about it coming up. Speaking of Bobby Lashley's tag team partner, Shelton Benjamin, he'll be in the next match for the second spot in the Casino Gauntlet match. But he'll take on Speedball Mike Bailey. When we see the Hurt Business go one-on-one, we'll let you know coming up here shortly. Coming up. Also, too, we get things started with here with the Casino, the Continental Classic starts next week, Thanksgiving Eve, for the Thanksgiving special edition of Dynamite. And we get who's the top merchandise seller in WWE? We get the AEW Ring Report started right here on the Pro Wrestling Show. Started right here, right now. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show presents the AEW Ring Report. I've been your host, Kendrick Dix here. Glad you can join us here on the AEW Ring Report. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling here on Connect. And don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe if you can. Tell a friend, call a friend. Hit that subscribe button so you won't miss a thing. All right, we're going to get started with the AEW Ring Report right here. And what the AEW Ring Report it was. We'll kick things off with this. Bobby Lashley taking over Ricochet. You know, Ricochet, I never did thought this. Ricochet, I didn't think he had charisma too much, but after this, he really does have charisma. He knows how to run his mouth. And Ricochet was doing that all night, stalling for some time. Right here, Ricochet trying to talk about how Boston's sucks in sports and everything else, and talk about the only thing Boston was good enough to give him is produce him his wife, which is Samantha Irvin, and she's under a 2-year clause under WWE. Well, Ricochet went against Bobby Lashley. uh, the time of talking was not now. Bobby Lashley wanted to provide some action, and Lashley wanted to shut up Ricochet because Ricochet was talking so much throughout the whole entire match. And Ricochet was trying to stall for time. He couldn't stall for time for long. Ricochet had to put up a shut up, and Ricochet did not know what to do, and he lost to Lashley. Lashley wins over Ricochet. Bobby Lashley pins Ricochet and gets the victory. Bobby Lashley would like to see who he will face throughout the next, who will be the second entrant. And we didn't have to wait no longer than that. Second entrance during the match was Speedball Mike Bailey versus Shelton Benjamin, which I don't know why they even do something like that. Why you can't make that a surprise? You already given the audience that right there. Shelton Benjamin won uh, uh, won his match, so Bobby Lashley will take on Shelton Benjamin. It'll be like the Hurt Syndicate. It starting off the Full Gear Casino Gauntlet match. So we'll see that. I just think to me, like, I would think about element of surprise sometime. I think Tony Khan kind of overstepped his bounds and don't really realize, like, hey, say that surprise element. Don't let folks know like that. I saw that interview he did with Ariel Hawani, told me a lot, but it was kind of interesting too. They put the differences aside too. So two goals to Tony Khan for like even appearing on there to kind of shut that door out with Ariel Hawani. But we know that sometimes let stuff be a surprise. We don't want tensions to be boiling over right then and there. We know it's gonna come down the road, but I wish he would have just made that a surprise. Well, they did what they did, but we'll see how this is gonna go going forward. But hey, speaking of that, was another storyline going on. Was the Young Bucks gonna join Don Callis into his family? Don Callis wanted an answer, and Don Callis wasn't gonna accept no. Don Callis mentioned about the fame, the fortune, getting them back on their feet and stuff. And the Young Bucks was really appreciative. But Don Callis, all he wants the Young Bucks to join the family. He wanted the Young Bucks to super kick, you know who, Ken Omega or somebody. But the Young Bucks teamed up with Josh Alexander. Then the Young Bucks wasn't all in. Tell her that the Young Bucks were trying to get themselves together. But we see a Jurassic Express and Ken Omega. Like Ken Omega gonna be the one to bring the Young Bucks back into their glory and tell them like, hey, you're better than this. You don't need this. Find them back to their purpose and their and their you know, their passion and their purpose. So we'll see the Young Bucks will go back to their passion and purpose. We'll see how that's gonna go. But we know that on Full Gear there will be a $1 million 6-man tag team match. I ain't never heard no match like this before. Sign me up. I want to be in that $1 million 6-man tag team match. If they're gonna do something like that, sign me up. Sign me up to good. But I guess the Young Bucks doing so and however that's gonna go down, we'll see. Well, Tony Schiavone came on the air. Schiavone talked about his good friend Bob Collum, and we can show a picture of Bob Collum. Bob Collum was a legendary announcer in the Mid-Atlanta area, and Bob Connor Collum. And Tony Schiavone said that he idolized Bob Collum and said that Bob Collum should have a Hall of Fame in his wing for announcers. Bob Collum, I remember Bob Collum from the Mid Atlanta area, and Bob Collum with Smoky Mountain Wrestling and stuff like that. But Bob Collum was part of important foundation back in the mid '80s with the World Championship Wrestling NWA with that with Dusty Rhodes. He'll be conducting an interview with Dusty Rhodes, and got the interviews and stuff with Dusty, Nikita, Ivan, you name it, Lex Luger, Ric Flair, you name it, they was all Bob Collar and Tony Schiavone told Bob Collar Godspeed and wish him on through. Bob Collar really was that for stuff like that. All right. We see that the Death Riders was in action as well. They went against I think Orange Cassidy, a host of others, the Death Riders, proving their stats and stuff like that. The conglomerate, whatever the 9210. We see Kyle O'Reilly applying that same move on John Moxley. Like Kyle O'Reilly is going to get a match against John Moxley. He wants to be a made man, and he's going to want to be a made man. We'll see if he can do so. Kyle O'Reilly issued a challenge over Moxley. They're going to have a match at Full Gear. Kyle O'Reilly will go against John Moxley. We'll see if Kyle O'Reilly will win this week. This is the match right here against John Moxley right here. No holds barred. We're gonna see that no holds barred match coming up. Kyle O'Reilly made Moxley submit at Blood and Guts. Can we show that right quick? That Blood and Guts match right quick. Uh, show that right quick. Them see it right here, right quick. Blood and Guts. Yeah, right here. This is the moment right here. They wanted Blood and Guts, but the moment was Kyle O'Reilly making Moxley submit and making Moxley right here. This is the pivotal moment right here. I want to show you right quick before we leave out and stuff. We can show you right quick. Right here. This is the moment right here that made Moxley submit, tap out, giving O'Reilly and his team the victory. O'Reilly didn't forget about that, and maybe John Moxley wants to make Kyle O'Reilly a main eventer of a household name. You know, he'll do so coming up this week. So looking forward to seeing that as well coming up as well as this. Heyman Adam Page went against Shibata. Heyman Adam Page defeated Shibata, but he's talking about him and Samoa Joe will have their match inside of a 15-foot solid steel cage, and that cage match will come with Joe be able to make Heyman give up, pin him, submit, or get the world championship out of Heyman. That's gonna be the question that everybody wants to know and everybody wants to figure out. So we're kind of gonna keep our close eye on that and see how that's gonna go down. But Samoa Joe thought he had Kabbalah ready, but Kabbalah was not ready against world champion Heyman M. Page. M. Page embarrassed Kabbalah as well as Samoa Joe as well. So let's see how that's going to go down as well. All right, we move on to this. You know, the tag team champions, Broly and Bandino will defend the championships against FTR. The way FTR did that heinous attack last week. Show you that heinous attack last week what FTR did, and they show their true colors as well. FTR putting their hands on the legendary. Let's show you right quick. FTR their hands on Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And FTR did right here, attacking the dragon. The dragon had to defend himself. That was the most Ricky Steamboat really coming through and coming for fruition. Bandino and Bro Lee coming in the aid of Ricky the Dragon Steamboat as they did and stuff. But Ricky Steamboat getting the help he need, but they're gonna need all the help they can get coming up here. So we'll see. Well, we see right here that Kyle Fletcher will be going against what's his name? Mark Briscoe. Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher getting the help. Let's the help from you know who. Uh, Okada is still trying to target, you know who, take it Takashi. Takashi ain't nowhere to be found, but Takashi better watch his back. He's one name by Okada. Okada's gonna do some damage. I can tell you that right now. Remember that we'll see if Mark Briscoe can get the job done and not be joining the Don Callis family. That's Nicole. Wow. We'll see how this gonna go. Well, also too, you see, Tony Storm and Mika talking about they want to be the next women's tag champs. Well, the tournament's still going on. We'll see. Could Tony Storm and Mika be the champions? That's the question that everybody wants to know. We have to wait and see on that. But Tony Storm laying out the gauntlet. She can't wait to see who next, who's going to step up. Speaking of stepping up, Megan Bain, uh, along with this could be the threat right here in that women's tag team tournament. Megan Bain and Maria Shakur could be the likely team that could win some women's tag team gold. Megan Bain and Marina looks like they are a formidable team, a real dominant team. Both women are kind of mysterious and kind of got that mysterious look to them. Kind of look like they can be Amazon women and stuff like that. Kind of like they can really beat your butt and stuff like that. They're like what they call like stud um and stuff like that. Women that really can give them a run for their money and stuff. But we'll have to wait and see if they will advance. But they kind of like the team, one of the teams, the heavy favorite to make it to the finals. I can tell you that right now. We'll see. If that's going to be the case coming up. Well, we the Pack still talking about what he's going to do and what he's going to bring to the table. One thing about Pack is really talkative and really says stuff twisted in terms of what's going to go down. So we'll keep a very close eye on Pack and what's going on with Pack coming up. Well, we know Mercedes Moné will be challenging Chris Stanley for the women's championship. Mercedes Moné bringing out her belts like she normally would. All the belts. She's the belt collector. I mean, some people say her gimmick is lose all your belts and realize that you don't have no belts no more. And then you finally win the world championship and kind of put a cease to all them belts and stuff. Because you're gonna eventually have to lose the belts and stuff. So I think that's what's gonna go down. She's gonna win all the belts, including the world championship. Then she's gonna have to drop it. Which ain't gonna make no sense of you holding all the belts and stuff. That's just crazy. But Mercedes Monet sending a loud, clear message to Chris Stanlander that she is coming for her belt and she wants her belt more than never before. Mercedes Monet did so tonight by applying the bank statement on Chris Stanlander, sending a clear message. She wants her belt. She'll do anything to grab it and gravitate to the belt. So we'll see. We know also too right here, fatal four-way tag winning team picks match stipulation. So I guess they're gonna be full gear. I guess we're gonna get that. I might well just do all of them teams for the women's world tag team titles. I mean, that makes sense to me. I don't know what they doing, but it's AEW for you, stuff like that. So hey, we see that that's the notion. So all right, that's gonna do it for the AEW Ring Report. We're gonna probably leave you with this right here. Um, Tony Storm and Mika winning. And Tony Storm and Mika could be next, be in the finals. That's why I think it's gonna be Tony Storm and Mika in the finals for the AEW Women's Tag Team Championship against Megan Bang and Maria Sherrill. Thank you all for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. I've been your host, Kendrick Dixon, and so long. We'll see you Friday for the SmackDown Report here on the Pro Wrestling Show.